Hi, welcome back to Deep Images. I'm Henry Covert, and I'm here today with Bill Mulligan and a new gentleman on our podcast, Nick Mays. And we have a very special guest, Yvette Yzon, who's been on the show before. And we did an interview with her for our 1 year anniversary show. And so today we're going to launch. Today is Friday the 13th. By the time you watch this, it's going to be October. So, but for us, it's Friday the 13th. So our way of, well, for Yvette, it's Saturday the 14th. But um, but we're going to celebrate this day by launching our Halloween series. We're going to start talking about zombies because I occasionally do these polls on YouTube, and no one ever really much pays attention to them. But for some reason, I had one. What do you want to see next as our next topic? And I listed 5 topics, and I just tossed zombies on there, the hell of it. So amazingly, 30 some people voted, and 93% wanted zombies. So this is the very first topic we're doing that the viewers demanded it. So I guess we're getting somewhere. Enough people are watching to want us to cover certain things. So um, I wanted to talk to Yvette about something we had tread over before in our previous interview. Um, how did you get involved with um, the Island of the Living Dead? And just you don't have to go into super detail because I know we've covered it, but um, I kind of wanted to know, just let people know like how you got involved with it, what you think of it, how experiences you had, and if I think of anything specific while you're talking, I'll. Is that cool?
Yeah. Um, I think Bruno saw something. Well, they changed my character from a sexy thing, goes to a war freak thing. Huh? And no, joking aside from I think they talked about me changing my character because I told them also maybe it's time for me to have an next step
Yeah.
on my career, not only for sexy thing or whatever.
Mhm.
So they decided if I want to do a zombie flicks, and then I said why not. It's a different genre for me, but I think I can study and learn about it, and from you also, because I know Bruno Mattei, it's into zombie flicks. So I ask many things about how to do it, and I always talk to him and to the producer. How am I going to do it? How am I going to attack it when I'm in front of the camera? Because sometimes maybe I think it's over for me to do the thing,
Mhm.
but they said, oh no, it's natural, it's all natural when you're doing it, so
Do you mean
it's
like
okay.
stunts or certain things with
Yeah, the
effects,
stunts, everything.
firearms?
Yeah, because me, it's my first time to do those things.
Right. So once you got into that realm, did you enjoy it, and did you take to it pretty quick? Because you did too, like that. And I'm assuming you were. I know you were physically fit to do all that running around and holding guns, but or whatever you could kill zombies with. But um, was that fun, or you know?
Yes, it's so fun. be- and I'm just having fun on the set while doing it. I'm happy that 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 I can do such things like that.
Yeah, yeah. What did you think about the makeup effects and that kind of side of it? Did you get to see those
Um
people creating most of that stuff? Like in the second one, it gets very elaborate when she goes into that underground thing and they're breeding these whole new race of zombies, and like he threw every idea of the kitchen sink into that one, and you like destroyed all of it. Good.
I,
Yeah.
I that's the everything is a first to me. So when I saw them doing things like that, the fetus, the pregnant woman with and all the things on the set, I was so amazed. I'm always asking, how do you do that? Everything I ask
Oh, that's
because it's a first. But it's very, very fun on the set, especially with Bruno. So, and I learned many things with Bruno.
mhm.
Until now, I'm still, s- I'm still thankful for him that I have, I have, those moments with him. And, until now, every time someone will talk about Bruno, they will talk about me also because
Right.
I am the last actress that Bruno do such a movie like that.
You were kind of his muse at the end of his career, I guess you could say. I mean, you were in
Yeah,
five films, right?
five, six,
Yeah,
I
I can't
think.
think of any other actress that was in that many movies.
Yeah.
Um, so that's pretty awesome. I mean, I thought it was wonderful when I found those movies because I didn't know he was still making those kind of movies into the 2000s. Up to within several years of his death. I had no idea, and so that's how I found out who you were. I was like, oh wow, and then I liked your character, and I thought this is interesting because the two movies, like one's a sequel to the other, and they have this very elaborate storyline, and because he tends to do that. I think people underrate him as a writer. I mean, I know he didn't write it all himself. I know. I was going to ask you actually, on those movies. Uh, so this was after he split with Claudio Fragasso, right? And he didn't have anything to do with those films at all, correct?
No.
Okay, because I know that's Claudio Fragasso and his wife used to write like Hell of the Living Dead and that era of movies for him. Um, so was it Bruno and Johnny who wrote these zombie movies that you're in?
Hmm. Yes, most of the films that I had from them is both of them. And another one, what's his Antonio? I
Mhm.
just forgot the surname. So three of them
Okay,
actually.
okay, and then, so you've been partnered with Johnny ever since.
Yes.
That's incredible. And now, so they're doing some movies that are kind of in this vein now. We were talking about one before the show. Uh, can you tell the people watching a little bit about the one they're filming on now and are going to be filming on for a bit? A taste,
Um
maybe.
about Emmanuel,
Mm,
because they're filming right now the Emmanuel, the Cannibal, and what else? Golden Blood. I think that's the but the Golden Blood is a big movie. They are telling me that on the seven films that we had, the Golden Blood is the big movie, they said, because until now they're still filming also.
wow.
And Emmanuel has seven parts, I think. They're doing it on seven parts or five to seven parts of Emmanuel.
Do you mean it's going to be that many installments of movies?
Yes.
So it's going to be like a series like the old Emmanuel.
Yes. It's not just one, but five
Wow.
or seven, I think.
And who is the actress now who's kind of taken this iconic
It's
role on?
the name of the actress is Erica Vanucci.
Okay. And she actually is a
She's a
black woman.
model. I think she's a model before,
Okay.
and then now she 2 years ago, I think she made a movie and on a one producer that Johnny knows, and then they got it for the role of Emmanuel because of the physical appearance of Erica.
Now she is. I know Laura Gimser was not black and she was not Asian. I found out I learned her background recently, and it was kind of interesting. And the woman who played in Black Emmanuel, the first one, that what the second one without Laura Gimser, that lady was an Israeli actress, but she had really
Hmm.
dusky skin. I thought she was black because they included the movie on this black exploitation DVD set, just for the hell of it. But so this is the first woman who's actually black who's playing a black Emmanuel?
I, but I think um Erica is not pure black.
Right, right. What is her background? Do you know?
Not much.
Okay. Where does she live? Italy?
Yes, in Italy.
Okay, okay. Well, she's a pretty girl. You said she was very young.
Yes, I think she's only 23.
Okay, okay. That's cool. If she were much younger, everybody would freak out these days. But but though you're working on those, and so so just so everybody watching gets this straight, the way I did before we start shooting. So you guys are filming 7 films concurrently in different phases. Wow,
Yes.
this is like Jess Franco's
Include,
heyday.
Yeah, yeah.
including the movie. It's like a comeback for me, but I'm the older version of my previous movie from Milai 4.
Oh yeah,
So
talk
that's
about that a little
included.
bit, and how's that going, coming along?
On November, they're going to the US to shoot some part of the movie
Hmm,
because for Natalie, the actress name is Natalie, and they have this because she's an American journalist in that movie, so they have to go somewhere in, I don't know, in New York, I think.
that's kind of like an Emmanuel movie. And she saw your character out. Who Can you tell people about your character who haven't seen our other interview? Because I think it's fascinating.
Yes. From my previous movie, Milai 4, here on this movie, right, that I've done last summer, it's an old Pillay. My character from before. Now I'm older.
Right.
They made me old.
I remember
Is
those
it?
pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard to put. It was hard for you to pull off looking older. I mean, they needed more makeup, but I think it's great bio.
Yes, they. I think I'm amazed because when I saw my face, oh, that's me when I get old years from now.
Right, right. The age advancing, and they colored your hair. Was it kind of blondish white? Is that why you had the whiter hair for a while?
Yes,
Okay,
until now I still have.
still
Oh
growing
yeah.
out. That's incredible. So yeah, so the character from the first movie was a fictitious survivor of Milai based on a real person who was a survivor of Milai. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Tile is a survivor from Milay. So I met her
Oh,
before in
she's
Vietnam.
real. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, she's a real person. So, but now, after I met her, years after that, she died. But now the surviving now is the son.
Okay. How does he is he supportive of what you're doing here? He likes you doing, portraying his mother's story.
I think so.
Her son, I mean, in other words, her son's okay with you playing the mother and doing this
Yes,
sequel.
because I met them in Vietnam before, but the son is just now he's married already
Okay.
with a family already.
Okay. How old was she when she died? Do you know? Or around?
Around 98, 90s, more or
Oh,
less.
so she was an adult during My Lai. She wasn't like a young person
Yes,
whose family was killed.
yes,
Okay, wow. Did she lose any children in that?
yes. The eldest daughter
Oh my God. I'm not laughing.
and the mother.
I'm not laughing either. I'm smiling because I guess I need to watch this too.
Yeah. I want to see it too. How can we see this, or can we yet over here? My Lai 4.
I don't know, but I think there's um I really don't know, but my friend got a copy of Milai for through Amazon.
Okay.
Mm,
But yeah, but I really don't know,
It
sorry.
could be a
no
bootleg or it could be
problem.
legitimate.
I'll figure it out probably. Don't worry. I want to see it. I think it sounds good. I'm not saying good like it's a good
Sure.
story, but you know what I mean. Like it's difficult to balance everything.
It's a heavy subject, and I love actually love Vietnam movies, and not I of course I grew up when I was a
Sure.
kid. Vietnam was
That was
I
the
was too
news.
yeah, you were seeing a lot, Bill. I was too young to
Yeah.
see all the really graphic stuff on TV, but I heard about it. It was like on the periphery. So by the time I was in elementary school, what we were taught, at the time was, Vietnam was bad and Nixon was bad and all these things are bad. And unfortunately, a lot of these things are now being rehabilitated by our current power structure. Go. Um,
You gotta have an actor to play an actor's role.
yeah, I grew up in the period of the true liberal Americans, and that's kind of what I identified with. Is like I was like I hate war, I hate all this kind of stuff and corruption. So I think that's incredible that you're doing that. I mean, until we were preparing for the first interview, I had no idea that you had done a movie like that. So I was like super excited. Do you feel like that's one of your favorite dramatic roles,
Yes.
or maybe your favorite?
It's my favorite because I've done some things before, but that movie, it's a memorable one because the child or the son that I had from that movie is my real son.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's
Oh wow.
4 years old by that time. Only 4 years old.
How old is your son now?
Now he's 19.
Man, so you had him when you were what, like 4 or 5 years old? No, I'm
Five.
kidding.
No, 27.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that, but no, thank you, I guess. I would not. I would not. No, I would not know that. But that still makes you very young when you worked with on those movies with Bruno, which is
Yes.
very cool. I mean, because you're still young, and those movies are like 20 years ago almost. So that's just amazing. Um, I feel like you're kind of upholding this tradition of these kind of movies, because I feel like when I got into movies, uh, I liked unusual movies, weird movies, cult movies, foreign movies, and this is the kind of stuff that I gravitated toward. And I know Bill is a wizard about this stuff as far as knowledge and what he's experienced, and so it's definitely something close to our hearts on the show here. So it's just nice to see somebody continuing in that tradition, and I'm amazed. I'm really happily amazed. I'm trying to contain my excitement so I don't like yell and blush and scream. But it really is really it's really fucking incredible. We curse on this show. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Um,
Okay.
I don't care
I
about
like
it.
how you I like how you said it, and then you're like, oops, then you immediately just said it again. It's like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a handful sometimes, even on even on, I have to direct myself sometimes to make sure I don't mess up. Um, so let's talk a little bit about well, before we depart from the two latter zombie movies, uh, apart from the experience of doing them and what you did with them, and I know you've talked some about how your character developed. So in retrospect, how do you feel about those movies? on their own terms as movies, like the storyline. Does the storyline make sense to you? I mean, I know it's probably a weird question to ask about Bruno Mattei's movies, but I mean, I never, it doesn't matter to me, but I always am able to find something in them that I get, that I understand, that I seem to see that a lot of people don't see. Um, I think he was an intellectual man. Am I wrong about that? He seemed incredibly intelligent, and his writers were very intelligent. There's a lot of ideas in those movies. Like, he takes all these ideas from all these different zombie movies and cannibal movies, and he kind of like, and action movies, and he like just smashes them all together. Like, anything can happen. Like, when you had the script, were you surprised every day? Like, what am I going to do now? Because it was just like, so anything could happen.
Yes. When I did those movie with Bruno Mattei, before they will give me a script, they will talk to me regarding their ideas and if I like it or not, or if they can simplify more for me. And I said, it's okay, but sometimes I said it's a challenge for me also, so I can see, or how I can see myself being an actress, to develop my acting abilities also. So it will help a lot for me to for those things that they're giving me.
Mm-hmm.
So I trust them with all those things. When they give me the script, I'll just study it, and then I'll ask them if I have to do something about it, or what they want me to do regarding those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I always talk to them.
Yeah, that's good that you are like in the collaborative process with them, that they're listening to your ideas as an actress. We're going to admit one of our other wonderful panelists here. If this button works here, Funky Lollipop, aka Briggy
Hey,
Williams.
in the flesh. Da, 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 da,
Hello,
da.
Briggy.
So I'm in the waiting room.
It's okay. We have two new people to introduce you to.
Okay, fabulous.
So up in the corner there is Nick Mays. He's a charlatan like me. He's actually in my house in another room broadcasting.
How's it going?
Okay, hi, how are you?
And
Uh,
to help us launch our zombie series, we enlisted a bona fide zombie slayer. Uh,
Oh,
she's played one in two films. This is Yvette Yzon, and this is Briggy Williams. She's an artist and a great panelist on our show.
very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hmm.
We're kind of segueing into different parts of her career and how it relates to this genre. So tell me what you think about. I'm going to talk about it in a little more depth here in a few minutes, but what were your thoughts on Hell of the Living Dead? Because I want to review that, and I like to tie this all in. And Bill's going to talk about an Italian zombie film as well. So when did you first see that movie, and what did you think of that movie? And did it have any effect on you as far as influencing you on the ones you did?
Um, I asked the producer to give me a copy of Hell of the Living,
Uh-huh.
so I can see, and I have to study how they do it, the movie, so I can do it also on my movie.
Mm-hmm.
I That's the time that um that's the reason that I continue to do such genre, because I like it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fun to do it.
Did you what did you think of that movie? Did you think it was entertaining? Did you think it was action packed, scary? I don't know, weird. I mean, because it's really all over the place. I mean, but in a good way. Again, he's tying together all these ideas from like Dawn of the Dead and all these other films into one movie, and some of the dialogues just hilarious, at least in the exported dubbed version. But I think from what I've read, that's on purpose. Like, that was actually the translation of what they intended. So yeah, were you entertained by that? Did you think it was a funny movie, or you think it was intentionally or unintentionally funny? I don't think I asked you that before.
For me, I think it's fun. Sometimes it's weird because me, I like zombies movie.
Okay.
It but when I do it already, I said, "Oh, this is the kind of zombie movies. How they do it, how they do the things on set and everything."
Hmm.
Okay, it's not it's quite fun, but it's weird.
What zombie movies were you into before you experienced those of his? Did you have any favorites?
No, I just watch it, but I don't have favorites for zombies movie.
Okay. Do you like Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead, which kind of like started the whole thing? Have you seen those?
I no, I did not see those movies. I just the trailers.
Okay.
Still not on the movie part.
Okay. Okay. But it's definitely something you have an affinity for. That's very cool. Um, so we were going to talk about. Hold on. Briggy is trying to return to us. She went into the Phantom Zone for a minute here. That's what happens to people on. You went into the Phantom Zone.
It just cut out. It just cut out. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Justin will be joining us soon, I think. Um, so Hell of the Living Dead. When I first saw it, actually one of our other panelists who I think talked to you this week, Yvette, and he wanted to be here, Mark Baranowski. He wanted to be here and meet you on here, and he kind of helped keep me up to date on what time you were going to be wanting to start with us. But something came up with his work, and he can't make it tonight. But he used to tape hundreds and hundreds. His goal was to have every horror movie ever. So he would tape like 3 movies per when you'd have those EP speed tapes. And so he just had them all cataloged meticulously. So he'd give me a list and I was like, oh, I haven't seen this. And he's like, I'll let you borrow this. So it's a lot of these movies I either saw in his house with him for the first time, in my house with him for the first time, or he would let me borrow it and I'd watch it at home. And Hell of the Living Dead was one of those. And, it had been known around a lot of fans as zombie creeping flesh. And I just kept hearing how crazy it was. And so when I watched it, I was like, it's way crazy. And it's really one of my very favorite. It's actually one of my favorite movies. I mean, it's not like in my top 10 or 20, but it's high. Especially for horror movies, and I think it's not like the movies that influenced it. It's not as serious. It's not as and I had read that he wanted to do something like Dawn of the Dead, but what I read was he wanted to do something like Dawn of the. This is what Fergasso said. He wanted to do something like Dawn of the Dead, but more epic, but also more lighthearted. So it was like, okay. So, he wanted to go all the way to the apocalypse, but he wanted it to be kind of fun. So, because, Dawn of the Dead it's a very dark movie, really. It has some humor, but there's some scenes that I still get kind of bummed out watching. Doesn't stop me from watching it, but, um, so I think he kind of succeeded at that. And he took a lot of things from Dawn of the Dead, like the SWAT team members, and I heard that Fergosta said their costume person um, found some stuff in the dumpster, all this blue cloth, and they just quickly sewed together these costumes that were supposed to look like the ones Peter and Roger wore in Dawn of the Dead. And Fergosta thought it was pretty funny. He's like, us, we do it the Italian way, man. We just get it done. It looks silly at first, but then when we're done, we're ready to go. And I was like, wow. And you get that vibe watching the movie, but it's funny to hear somebody actually saying that who was involved in it. Um, but he's got the SWAT angle, and then he took the music of Goblin. He had paid somebody for the rights to it, So Goblin would be recompensed, but Goblin wasn't paid directly, nor did they give explicit permission. But it's kind of like he paid somebody that paid Goblin, and it was this person was like, just take any Goblin music you want. So he took music from other movies soundtracks, and back then, not many people did that. Nowadays that's happens a lot, but I mean, it was like he took a lot of the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack for the movie, but he took parts of some other things like Contamination and a couple others I forgot, and some stuff from their album Roller, which was like their prog rock album they did before Deep Red. Um, but it works well with the movie, And another thing I thought was interesting, that they used all this stock footage of Papua New Guinea, like real tribes people and real people in the villages, and he would intercut them to pretend like the SWAT team and the characters were actually there. So I thought that was funny. That was kind of an Ed Wood like kind of touch there, um, but I think what I like about the movie a lot, it's got a lot of energy, and and Bill, you can cut in anytime you want to talk about this movie because I know you've seen it too. Um, any thoughts you have?
It has actually been. It's been a while. We reviewed it on one of the other podcasts, and we're probably not as kind to it as I would be now. You take things. You take things. You got to learn to take things on their own level.
Right.
Uh, it's not zombie. It's not Zombie 2. It's not even my favorite Bruno Mattei film, but it does have energy, and it's fun. It's entertaining. And I think that's the thing that we often forget. It's like people who say Ed Wood is the worst director of all time. He is so far from the worst director of all time, because I can watch one of his movies from beginning to end and I'm absolutely entertained. There's
Yeah.
some director, I want to turn the movie off. In fact, I do. I realize I've only got so many hours left in my life, and I'm not going to waste another one on this film. That's a bad film. That's a
I
bad
think I think
director.
I've noticed among my friends, once we get over like 45 or 50, we don't spend more than 20 or 30 minutes on a movie until we give up if it's terrible, because like the clock's ticking on us now.
It helps if it looks like the actors had a good time making the movie, even if the movie is not terribly great. And I did want to ask Miss Yvette, what were the conditions like on the set? Were you taken care of, or was it like guerrilla style filmmaking where you were out there having a rough time for real?
At at first it's hard because they are all Italians and some of us can understand Italian. So at least the producer can speak a little English. So but now he can speak very well in English. So with Bruno, it's very, very hard because you cannot understand what his on his mind, especially what he wants to do. And sometimes there are times that me and Bruno will fight over the scene because he wants something more that I cannot do it. For me, I cannot. It's hard for me. So it's chaos with Bruno on set. That's him.
Yeah,
The producer will tell me, "Oh, it's okay. That is Bruno." So and so that's the very first movie I made with Bruno, and then the rest is it's okay already because I learn how Bruno minds want. So sometimes I just said, "Okay, I know, I know, I know." I just do that to Bruno. Okay, I'm listening to you. Okay, I understand everything like that. Eh, but sometimes it's fun also when especially when he's shouting already because you don't know what he's
right.
shouting
You don't
and
know what he's saying to you. You hope it's not
yeah,
bad. We're gonna bring in
yes.
Justin Cotton real quick, and now we've got a quorum here. This is our Australian panelist. He's also an original member of the podcast. Justin Cotton.
Hey,
Hello,
Justin.
hi, Bree.
Hi.
How's it going?
Justin, good to see you. We have a new young man, Nick, up in the corner. and on the show. And then we also have a wonderful guest here, Yvette Yzon, who you may remember that Tim and I interviewed a few months ago. So she is back
Hi,
with us to helping us kick off the zombie party. Um, so did you feel like, and might be a dumb question, I think you kind of already sort of covered it, but when you got to the point where you were doing the zombie moves and the horror, did you feel like that, even though there was a lot of action and physical demanding stuff, do you feel like that was easier or more comfortable for you than like the erotic movies?
Yes, it
Does
is
that make
much
sense?
easier.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to say it
It
delicately, you know.
yes, it is much easier for me because when I did those erotic scene before, I always asking the producer, or I ask the producer and Bruno if if they if they have to they have to give me some more lessons about it, because I really don't do things like that here in the local showbiz. So sexy, but those bed scenes, everything like that, more erotic thing, I don't do it.
Yeah, the
So
jail the
I have
jail looks pretty. I haven't seen it. The jail seems
the
very
jail.
explicit.
Yeah, but it's more fun with that
Well, that's cool.
with that movie.
It was a women in prison movie for those who haven't.
Yes.
I haven't seen it either, but I'm a fan of that subgenre, and a lot of the
I
great
wonder
ones.
why.
I
Sorry.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's a puzzling comment, Briggy. I'm not sure what you're implying. I don't get any kicks out of seeing women in chains or anything. I just think it's a
Sure.
very, I just think it's a very, fun, very fun genre, and a lot of the great ones were shot by American directors and by Filipino directors in the Philippines in the '70s, like Jack Hill and Eddie Romero, notably made a whole ton of those, and I thought they were wonderful, and some of them were hilarious. Big Birdcage, Jack Hill's
Birdcage, yeah.
he's actually making fun of the genre that he'd already made two movies in. And Roger Corman, its producer, didn't even know he was making a parody. He probably didn't care, and it became a huge hit because it had Pam Grier, of course, and it was just
Yeah.
what it was, and uh, I just think it's great because once I learned it was a parody, I was like, oh, so there's a reason it's so hilarious. It's not, it's not like he knows what he's doing. I guess is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Right. That seems to be a theme with a lot of Roger Corman films, that he's surprised when he gets a comedy that was expecting something else, like Death Race 2000. I can't imagine how anyone thought that was not going to be a comedy, but it made money, so that's all he cared about.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he probably didn't have the time in his busy schedule to sit down and really analyze the parody of these movie scripts. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I know he was intelligent enough to get them. He probably just was moving on to 5, 10 other movies. By the
It
time.
does amaze me though when producers are shocked to get a finished product and realize it was not what they were expecting, like Branded to Kill or something. And you're just, do you have no oversight with these crazy directors? You just give them the money, let them loose, and then all of a sudden they come back with something you absolutely cannot market.
Well, that's a good shout out, Bill, because an episode that will air before this one that we've already recorded. I did review Branded to Kill.
Great movie.
Justin and Briggy had to suffer through it. I mean, had
Oh,
to be part of it, and
It's
yeah,
good.
I did a lot of research, and I found out there are several sides to that story. I mean, basically, what you just said is what happened, but it's fascinating how it played out because basically he went to the public and literally the public protested the studio and forced that producer who no one liked anyway to put out the movie even though he hated it. So it didn't come
good
out on
move.
time and it didn't make a lot of money, but it did have like they said he couldn't get any work in films for like 10 years. He did commercials, but internationally all the critics knew who he was. It was
Yeah,
like, so it's weird.
it's a great film.
Great. Oh yeah. So I hope you'll like my review of it. I actually
I'm sure I will.
didn't go on terribly long for once. But,
Mhm.
it's
I'll believe it when I see it.
Bill knows me well. So
Mm.
um so Yvette, yeah, so Hell of the Living Dead you enjoyed. I'm trying to think if there's anything in particular that I would like to bring across about Hell of the Living Dead. For anybody who doesn't know, it is basically it's a combination of a bunch of things. You know, it's kind of like Dawn of the Dead, but what I like about it, yeah, what I was going to say earlier, it has an intelligent script. If you actually read the subtitles and read it as a script, because I've seen it so many times that I've been able to do that, the dialogue is actually like, you know, very literate. You know, it's, and I mean, the puns and jokes are very
Oh,
clever. I mean, they don't all land well, but they're written. They wouldn't be written nowadays. They're not the kind of things that would be written nowadays. They're much more intelligent. And the basic idea of it, you know, and the names he comes up with, the ideas, I mean the movies you're in too, absolutely. I mean, the Hope Centers. So the Hope Centers, you know, they have this industrial, uh, like an industrial park, and these scientists are working, and you don't know what they're working on, and you find out the Hope Centers are these places where third world country people uh, go. You know, they're basically the scientists go out to their communities and are involved with them, but you don't really know what they do until way into the movie, and it's kind of sinister and it's kind of subversive. I mean, it's not, you know, when the main characters find out, they're like really disgusted, and they should be. um but they're basically testing the stuff, planning to test this stuff on third world countries so they can annihilate parts of their population to keep population under control. And since they're black and brown people, you know, who cares? That's kind of the message that they're throwing at you, that this is a terrible attitude. And it's sad in the world we live in 40 years later, more of that's happening than ever right now as we speak. And it's funny because he also has this the trigger for the plot that turns people into zombies. It's called Operation Sweet Death. I think that's the thing. I wish they almost wish they'd named the movie that. Um, and it's just so weird. And then like a rat chews something, a pipe, and the stuff gets exposed, and the rat dies. I didn't know this until I've seen the movie several times. I didn't. I just thought a rat jumped on this guy who was surveying their equipment, but apparently the rat chewed the thing, ingested the Operation Sweet Death material, died, became undead, came back to life rabid, and then jumped into the guy's suit and killed him from the inside, which I did know that part. And then they start biting the other people. So almost all the scientists in no time at
Mm.
all, and workers are are zombies. And you get the one guy, the oldest guy, and he kind of is like a figure you would kind of see in a Romero movie, in that he's like, history will damn us for what we have done this day, this apocalypse we have loosed upon the world. I mean, it gets really philosophical, you know, and you're like, wow, I'm not used to this from this kind of movie. I loved it, but I mean, it was just like, some people overlook that when they watch the movie, or they think it's funny because the way it's delivered in the dubbing. But it's very, the movie has a message. And toward the end, when, you know, all of these people in these villages are becoming zombies and eating each other, and then you find out that's what they want to happen, that they actually, the government wanted to do that. And so then you have a scene at the United Nations, and, you know, he couldn't afford any fancy scenes, so they're in like this stadium. It looks like a classroom in a college, and there's like three people at the bottom at this summit. One is an African guy, supposedly. He's a black man with a really cool outfit and a dashiki. And he's like, "You are destroying my people." And he gives like a 3-minute speech that's like super philosophical about how you have damned the world and all of humanity. You know, this is evil. You hate my people. You're trying to crush us all. You know, it goes on and on and on. And there's one guy on each side of him, like a British guy and a French guy. And they go, look, we'll come back tomorrow. Okay. It's just, we got to leave. And they throw his paper at him and walk off. And it's like he's the only one in the United Nations. But I guess he used the low budget to make a point. I thought it was symbolic, like because he's the only one speaking out against it, for his people. But anyway, I'm hoping the viewers will get more out of that than probably y'all did just now. But but anyway, I thought the movie had a lot of heart and a lot of fun and a message. And I thought the gore was really well done. I mean, it was fairly realistic. Some of it was kind of poor, but it looked like kind of disgusting. Some of it. How did you feel about you? You told me you liked learning how the effects were made on the ones you were in. The gore effects. You like seeing how they were made, Yvette?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't want to get you terribly off track there. So we have one more person who wants to join us. We have a surprise guest, and it's one that it's someone Yvette. So I'm going to bring them in here. It's iPhone 2.
It's iPhone 2. Wow.
Hello.
Tim Tolbert.
Hey,
Hello.
Tim.
Making a special
Hi.
cameo appearance for everyone today.
Tim has not been on camera on the show for many episodes, and the audience has been weeping.
Yes, they have. The numbers have been dropping. I've been getting fan mail asking, where am I at?
Where?
But I listen to my fans, and I return to them. So,
well, Tim, Yvette, do you remember Tim who interviewed you with me?
Hi, team.
hello. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you also.
We're going over some of the stuff we had already talked to her about, and then we're kind of treading some new stuff, and I'm kind of working in a kind of a review of Hell of the Living Dead, and so we're just kind of on a big zombie kick, and
okay, well,
I was pleased to hear Yvette say that she liked those kind of movies, because I wasn't sure last time we talked to you. I mean, I got that idea, but I didn't hear you say it exactly, and I was like, okay, that's good to know. Do you feel like you're proud of those movies you did with him, the 2 zombie movies as Sharon DeMao?
Yeah, yes.
Good. Well, that's good. I'm glad you should be, because I think they're great. So, and I'm glad are you going to make us now this one with Emmanuel? It's got one of them has a cannibal angle. Now it's not zombies, right? It's cannibals like in Cannibal Holocaust and stuff, like human cannibals. Is that correct, or am I wrong? Like what kind
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. So they're like, is it like a tribe that she comes upon who are cannibals? Or can you reveal
Yes.
not much? Okay.
Not much.
Yeah, I don't want you to violate any agreements here. Well, there was that movie that Gimster did with D'Amato called Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals, which is one of my favorite Emmanuel movies of the ones I've seen. I really love it. And so I think it's cool that you're doing something in that spirit. Are you doing anything else in that genre besides that one that you could tell us about? I thought you said at one point you were thinking about doing a sequel to some of the other stuff, but I can't recall exactly.
Yes, they're doing it in a sequel, but as of now, I still cannot divulge anything about it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. No problem. Hi, you've been watching Deep Images, our series on zombies, and this is our first session with Yvette Yzon, star of Island of the Living Dead and Zombies the Beginning, as our special guest panelist. We hope you'll stay tuned for the upcoming installments in this series. And in the meantime, please remember to, well, I'll let my co-host tell you what you...
Well, like, subscribe, and share, please. I have no shame about asking people to like, subscribe, and share, because, we are an independent community here. We're doing everything ourselves. And let's just do our bit to spread the love and the beautiful time that everybody has taken to research these movies and bring them to you. So yeah, we do everything with love, but so that's what we'd like you to share with love as well. So thank you.
We appreciate you watching. Take care.
desires, breathing in fire, a blaze, fueling my last days. No reason, consistent treason.